Mark here, cooking books. You all know how I do cook the books, bring the information. This is more a little different. It's inspirational, but it's a little different from what I normally do. This is steps that I've written out, my own steps that I've written out on how to work your way back, bounce back from any setbacks, any situations that set you back, whether it be financial, personal, emotional, spiritual, etc. And these are ecumenical steps. Ecumenical meaning universal, one size fits all. That look, I believe this. If you've been watching any of my videos, I've made mention. Some of you who know me personally, I'm going through my own storms, my own real life adult issues, and I believe that if you can't work your way back out of your own financial setbacks or emotional setbacks, spiritual setbacks, psychological setbacks, heartaches, disappointments. If you can't work your way back, you can't tell others how to. So I've actually taken the time to write out a 6-part step-by-step bounce back methodology or techniques. And so it's steps to recovery from any heartache or any disappointment. And number one rule that I wrote out, number one rule is this: awareness of life. And I'm going to take my time with this, so bear with me, folks. Awareness of life. Here at this stage, you become aware that life is a series of states, right? I wrote this out. This is stuff that I wrote out. Life is a series of states of wins, states of losses, states of sorrows, and states of joy. So life is a superimposition series of states, meaning each state lays on top of each other, right? So awareness, that's number one rule in the step to recovery and bouncing back. Being aware that life is a superposition series of various states. All right, number two, be aware of the state that you're currently in. That's number two. I'm sorry. Awareness. This is still a part of awareness. It's not number two. It's still number one. Bear with me. So you become aware that life is a series or a superimposition series of various states. Once you acknowledge once you acknowledge that life is a series of states, then become aware of the state that you are in. Whatever state that you're in, be aware of that. That's number one. Number two is what I like to call the no exemption rule. Here, you have to face a real. This is probably going to be hard for a lot of us to understand or to accept. You're not special. The no exemption rule knocks your ego down a couple of notches. It takes your ego down a couple of notches. So it actually brings you into a state of humility and humbleness. The no exemption rule is you're not special. You're not exempt from the arrows of life's bow. You know, life is a bow and it shoots its arrows at everyone. You're not exempt. You're not exempt from the arrows of life. And in so being aware of the no exemption rule, you have to tell yourself you're not special. Sad to burst your bubble, but it's a reality. You're not special. So that's number two, the no exemption rule. Number three, you are not exclusive. This one, number two knocks your ego down a few notches. Number three helps you to bolster it back up a little bit. Number three is, like I said, you're not exclusive. You're not in a box of exclusivity, right? So you're not exclusive. At this point, you have to recognize, at this state, you have to recognize that others are in the same box that you're in, right? So at this point, you have to understand that others are in the same state that you're in. The state that you find yourself in, the non exclusive rule allows you to understand that you're not the only one in this state. It could be someone in your neighborhood in this state or someone on the other side of the globe. Either way you take it, you are not alone. So at this state, which is rule number 3, you have to recognize that you are not exclusive. So though you're not exempt from the arrows of life, you're also not exclusive to the arrows of life. The arrows of life, they are fired from their bow or shoot from their bow indiscriminately. So they don't discriminate. There's no prejudice. There's no bias. There's no partiality. You are not exclusive. You're not exempt, but you're also not exclusive. Couple these two things together, they bring you into some state of balance, right? Your ego gets knocked down by one because you're not special. Your ish do stink. Get off that high horse. And then the other one kind of bolsters you back up and say, okay, though I'm not special, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one going through this. It could be someone in your neighborhood that you don't know, or someone on the other side of the globe. But either way you take it, you're not alone. So that's number 3. Number 4 is this too shall pass. This is number 4. This is another. The fourth step is to understand this too shall pass. At this point, you understand that the state that you're in is transitory. It's here today, it's gone tomorrow. This is both figurative and literal. I'll say that again. The state you're in, because remember, life is a series of states. So the state that you're in, you have to understand it's not it's temporary. It's not a permanent state. It's here today and it will be gone tomorrow. It's both figurative and literal. So you have to kind of understand that it's both a literal and figurative. Figurative in the sense that the state can last for a duration, for an amount of time. Literally it can last for a long time. It's figuratively, it can end tomorrow. It could be a situation you're dealing with, for today, literally today, and ends tomorrow. So it's both figurative and literal. Okay. Then number 5, exercise. You have to engage in some kind of physical activity. I can't stress that. That's probably the most important of them all, exercising. Because when you are exercising, you're building your willpower. You're building your mental faculties, your ability to keep going, to drive the drive you need to push through whatever your state is. The exercising actually builds the spirit, not just your physical, but your inner man as well. So you're building up your inner man, right? That every time when I'm in the gym, I always tell myself, if I'm doing sets of 10. No, reps. If I'm doing reps of 10, I always tell myself to do, when I get to 10, do one more. Whatever my set number is, if it's 10, 15, 20, whatever it is, I always tell myself do one more. That last rep that you do, that one extra rep that you do, is what makes the difference between the person who wins in life and the person who not necessarily loses but stays at mediocrity. So it's not about the amount of weight. It has nothing to do with that. It's not even really about the weight. It's more so about the psychology behind the weight. The psychology, which is you, behind the weight that you're lifting. The psychology of saying, okay, I set my goal at 20. All right, I hit 20. Let's go for 21. It's not about 21. It's not about the weight. It's the psychology, the ability to be able to go that extra distance, that extra mile. Okay, so exercising is imperative. It is part and parcel to your success. It is absolutely necessary. So that's number 5. Number 6, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the role that you played in the demise of whatever it is. Okay, you filed bankruptcy. Okay, it's not your fault because Congress passed the legislation. That legislation affected the sector that you're in. Your company takes a hit. It's not my fault. I didn't play any role in that, right? I went to the SBA. I went through the SBA. I got my loan. I started my small business, blah, 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 blah. Things are going well. All of a sudden, we have a new administration in. They passed some law that affects the industry or the sector that I find myself in. I'm in the crosshairs. I take a shellacking. I got to pack up and run out of town. Bankruptcy, Chapter 11, here we come. It's not my fault. That might be true. That might be very true. And for all intents and purposes, we'll agree that's not your fault. But here's why you need to forgive yourself. Because even though it's not your fault, subconsciously, a lot of times, you start going, I should have did this, I could have did this, what if I did this, if I did this, if I did this, the I shouldas and I shoulda did this, I coulda, the I coulda and the I shoulda plays in our sub. and it deteriorates and it slowly breaks down and diminish our capacity to keep going, the drive. So it's always good to forgive yourself, even if you believe that you haven't played an intricate or a 99.9% role in what you've done. Whatever the fraction of a percent is, you have to take some accountability. Yes, we get it. It's not your fault, but forgive yourself so that you don't beat yourself up. That's really the reason why you need to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself so guilt, the ramifications of guilt, don't boomerang. It boomerangs. It comes back and it tears you up. So forgive yourself for the role you played in the era of judgment, etc. And if it's not a business, if it's a personal relationship, a marriage, a dating relationship, anything, and something goes wrong, and forgive yourself, because there's a role that we all play. There's a role. Again, we can argue about what percentage, what ratio, degree you played, but there's a role. So always learn, forgive yourself so that you can free up your energy chakras, your flow. It's called flow, so that your receptivity, your dendrites, your signal receptors to pick up, frequencies in the environment that you're going to need to be able to continue going and do what you need to do. They're going to be intercepted. It's going to be static. Think of a radio. If you don't have that radio fine-tuned to a particular station, it's going to be static. Why? Because it's being bombarded by various broadcasting networks and towers, and therefore it doesn't give you a clear sound. You just hear noise. So that's what's happening to you when you don't forgive yourself. Your receptors, which are in the brain, you actually have receptors. You have receptors within the brain, and you have receptors in your CNS, which is called dendrites, and they're responsible for you being able to pick up information in the environment or the media in which you find yourself, so that you can be productive and know what to do. I'm telling you, this stuff is deep biology, but I don't want to go too far into that. It's a habit of mine, right? Very bad habit. I got to bring it home. So those are the 6 steps to recovering from any situation. Because at the end of the day, the reason why these six steps can be applied to any situation, it's not about the situation. It's about you and how you deal with that situation, how you cope with that situation. These 6 steps can be applied to, like I said, bankruptcy, or it could be applied to you losing a job. It can be applied to pretty much anything, a breakup, anything. So yeah, those are my 6 steps and these are personal. These are for self-application. This is things that I'm practicing to go through my own storms. And I'm sharing this so if there's anyone going through their own storms, because we all going to go through something, that they can probably get something from this to use. And remember, folks, no exemption rule, critical. You're not special. You're not, just a quick run through. Become aware. Number 1, become aware of life and that it's a series of states. Be aware of the state that you're currently in, whatever the situation may be, divorce, heartbreak, financial bankruptcy, ruin, financial ruin, emotional ruin, whatever the state is, be aware, be conscious, become completely aware, cognitive of the state that you're in. Then no exemption rule. No one is exempt from the states that life bestow upon us. Accept that you're not special. Understand all of that. You're not exclusive at this state. You're not exclusive to the state that you're in. The state that you're in, you're not exclusive to it. Others are in it too. Understand the state that you're in, it shall pass. It's transitory. Again, the state that you're in, while you're in that state, exercise. And last but not least, the state that you're in, forgive yourself for the state that you find yourself in. Sooner you can forgive yourself, the sooner you can begin to work yourself out. All right? Till next time. Y'all know how to do cookbooks, bring information. Peace.